On Wednesday morning, May 6th at 11:34 Eastern, the planet Pluto stationed retrograde at 5 degrees of Aquarius. Now, if you're not someone who follows astrology, that sentence probably means a whole lot of nothing to you. But stay with me. This is important. This affects you. Two huge things are happening in the sky right now, and they're easy to confuse. So let me draw the line clearly. The first is the big one. Pluto in Aquarius, the transit itself. Pluto first crossed into Aquarius on March 23rd, 2023. It then dipped back into Capricorn for one last passage, and then settled in for good on November 19th, 2024. The planet will stay in Aquarius for the next 18 years, until March 8th, 2043. Then it won't return for another 248 years. That means pay attention, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime cycle. The second part is what just happened this Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. Pluto stationing retrograde inside that transit. Every year for about 5 months, Pluto reverses direction and walks backward through the degrees it has already crossed. This year's retrograde runs from May 6, 2026 through October 15th, 2026, and it's the fourth one we've had since Pluto first entered Aquarius. That's what a Pluto retrograde actually is. The dragging of unfinished business back through the underworld for a second pass. The last time Pluto did its full pass through Aquarius, roughly 1778 to 1798, 3 separate revolutions exploded throughout the Western world. The American Revolution, the French Revolution, and, lest we forget, the Industrial Revolution. 3 civilizational rewrites and overhauls, all on the same Pluto cycle. So if it feels like the rug's been pulled out from under you over the last 2 years, whether that's in your career, your relationships, or just wondering if anybody's actually steering this crazy ship called the 2020s, well, you're not imagining it. After all, the last time this astrological event occurred, it beheaded a king and built a country. Pluto takes 248 years to go around the sun. And the last time it was where it is right now, you weren't alive. Your grandparents weren't alive. Your great-great-great-grandparents weren't alive. Pluto first crossed into Aquarius on April 3rd, 1777, and then did exactly the same dance that it did this time around, dipping briefly back into Capricorn before settling in for good in late 1778 and staying through 1798, about 20 years. Let's walk through what happened in those 20 years. After all, every item on this list either started or transformed because of what Pluto in Aquarius did to the human collective mind. 1781, Immanuel Kant publishes The Critique of Pure Reason, which, in plain English, is the book where Western philosophy stops asking, what does God want, and instead starts asking, what can the human mind even know at all? That's a Pluto in Aquarius question if there ever was one. Aquarius is the collective claiming the right to think for itself instead of taking orders from above. Pluto is the part of the work that has to happen underground, tearing out the old foundations of authority before anything new can be built on top. And at the time, much of that underground work is being carried on by the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and the occult lodges of the period. Famous names like Mozart, Franklin, Goethe, Cagliostro, and many, many more. That same year, March 13th, 1781, William Herschel discovers Uranus, the very first new planet found since antiquity. Suddenly the sky is bigger. Suddenly the 7 classical planets are 8. 1787, the United States Constitution is written, a document that says explicitly that power does not flow downward from God to king to peasant. Instead, it flows upward from the people to whoever the people decide to lend it to. That's Aquarian ideology again, but now armed with Plutonian teeth and dangerous. July 14th, 1789, the storming of the Bastille. The French peasantry, the Aquarian collective, drags the Plutonian repressed material of 1,000 years of monarchy into the open air, and a few years later removes the king's head along with it, chanting the Aquarian slogan Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, and enforcing it with the Plutonic terror of the guillotine. 1791, Thomas Paine publishes The Rights of Man, arguing that political rights belong to every human being by birth. They're not granted by a king, not negotiated with a church. The next year, in 1792, Mary Wollstonecraft publishes A Vindication of the Rights of Woman and extends that same argument to the half of the species the men had quietly left out. So now put all this together. In 20 years, on one Pluto cycle, the West invented modern democracy, modern philosophy, modern feminism, modern industry, and the modern idea of revolution itself. Almost every modern thing you can name was forged in the underworld fire of that one transit. And here's the part that should make you sit up. Pluto first crossed into Aquarius this time around on March 23rd, 2023, which puts us on the historical clock somewhere around the year 1780, right before everything broke. The synchronicity is not subtle here either. Look at what happened in the same week Pluto crossed the line. March 14th, 2023, 9 days before the ingress, OpenAI releases GPT-4, the first AI model that scored at human expert level across professional and academic benchmarks. The same day, Anthropic releases Claude. A week later, Google releases Bard. In a 7-day window, 3 labs hand the human species an entirely new kind of mind to talk to. That is your Kant publishing the critique moment right there. Aquarius, the collective networked intelligence, gets a new technology. Pluto, the underworld, starts dissolving every assumption about what a human being is uniquely good at, or, again, what a human being is at all. Then July 2023, Elon Musk renames Twitter X and dismantles the old global town square in one stroke. October 2023, the Hamas-Israel war begins, and the entire Western media consensus on the Middle East splits down the middle in real time, on the very networks that Pluto is now rewriting. Then 2024, the most expensive election year in human history, and AI-generated content floods every information system at once. Each of these is an Aquarian institution. Networks, media, elections, the digital commons, having its underworld dragged into daylight and right on schedule. So 2 things, and you can do both or pick the one that fits. The first thing is, of course, subscribe to the channel. We're now putting out videos every week offering as much practical esoteric wisdom as we can. The second thing, and this is for the people who really want to go for it, go take our free course on magic and Western esotericism. It's at magick.me, completely free. It's the introduction I built to the entire Western magical tradition. Link to the course is in the description. Subscribe button's right there. I'll see you Saturday, and I'll see you in class.